Alrighty, Doc here from North America. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. We got another fun-filled day. We're seeing Mr. Trump's cabinet get put together. That's kind of nice. We're pretty happy about that. And you can see the stock market's been roaring along for days now. Maybe it'll do a little digestion, give you a chance to buy to get in again, that type of thing. We'll see. Anything's possible. And right there, you can see on the screen, you got the spreadsheet. And there's some of the stocks. Let's move it over to, right there. Let's move it to, there's the Robin. Hey, Robin. Now, what's up with this? Come on. There we go. Yo, Robin, what's cooking?
Can you send today's link to me?
Easy peasy. Sending it now.
Thanks.
All right. Bye-bye. All right. Let's send that over to Robin and get him up on the screen. Right there. Right there. And where is it at? There it is. And bingo, bango, bongo. Oh, no, not that, not that. Nope. Let's see, where's it at? Right there again. Copy. And go back to there. Paste. Bingo, bango, bongo. There we are. Alrighty. Now, from there, we go back to the chat line. Let's see if anybody's on the chat line. Doesn't look like it. Everybody's hiding. No one wants to ask me any questions. I need my mind. I need people asking questions so that my mind can explore. All right, so there it is. There's the dollar index. You can see it's still moving up, even with red dots at this point. You can see the algorithm doing the same thing. It's in a buy, and it just keeps on climbing, and it's in a daily buy. And what you need is the red dot to become. It's okay to be a red dot. It's showing some weakness, but at the same time, you got to have the histogram moving into the minus, and it's not doing that. So we're not seeing that minus action. So, and we're not counting the fact we're in weekly buys at the same time. So it's basically telling you to be long or be wrong. That's what it says. Be long or be wrong. And King Dollar seems to have, become King Dollar. That's what it comes down to. All right. There's a great conversation going on about the way the Federal Reserve keeps on swinging back and forth, and how they ever allowed zero interest rates. That is many a time we discuss things in finance and business and science, in any area, literature, whatever, and decisions are made and then they're codified. In other words, they're put together and they sit there. And they become like a law or a rule or whatever you want to call it, and depending on what we're talking about at the time. And then history goes and looks at it and goes, what were they thinking? Why would they make zero interest rates or minus interest rates? What were they thinking? How, I want to say how demented, but more than that is how immature they were to come up with these ideas. I mean, does anybody actually think that you should put your money at risk and not be rewarded? Now, that's the Federal Reserve. That's the number one bank, or let's say central bank on the planet. Who in the right mind there thought that zero interest rates or minus interest rates were a realistic way to govern, finance? I mean, honestly, I know Mr. Trump came in and said, I love low interest rates, but zero? Come on, that's crazy. I mean, somebody with common sense would have recognized that fact. So the bigger question now is, as much as the media and the Democrats, the leftists in our country, think that it's verboten to even have a conversation about it, now that Mr. Trump is president-elect, there's going to be a conversation about it. Because it's very absurd that, we saw the European Union carry minus interest rates for, I don't know, was it 8 years? I mean, from like 2009 to like basically almost up to Mr. Trump, 2016. I mean, really? I mean, wow. I mean, who in their right mind saw that as a good thing? I mean, only people who were financially benefiting from it. And how many of you out there had a bank walk up to you and say, "Hey, you, I think we're going to give you some free money. And not only are we going to give you free money, we're going to pay you interest on that free money." So you go walk into a bank and they go, "Hey, you don't have a bank account, but we're going to give you a bank account. Here's $1,000. And guess what we're going to do? Not only are we going to give you $1,000 for free, but we're going to pay you interest for it at the same time." Now, who thinks out there that that makes any sense whatsoever? Honestly. I mean, for real. So, get strap in, get ready, because the second term of Mr. Trump is going to be even more. What's the best way to describe it in a few sentences? Is going to be some of the best things that can happen to society. It's going to be common sense, realistic, events. I mean, are they going to come up with some boneheaded ideas? I'm sure they will. But will they be implemented and executed? I doubt it. I doubt it big time. Whereas with the socialist, any boneheaded idea that slides into their head, they slide it into our society, and we're trapped putting up with it for X period of time. Months, years, things like that. Weeks, days, months, years. We have to put up with that stupidity. So that's where we stand. And now we're seeing the formation of his cabinet. That's why the markets, markets anticipate. Stock markets in particular are a big anticipator. They move ahead of the news. That's their job. And the classic saying on Wall Street, buy the rumor, sell the news. And that's pretty much the name of the game. Let me take a sip of my tea here. That was good. All right, now from there, let's take a look at, we were looking at the dollar index, and you can see it's, King Dollar back again. And now we'll have to see where it ends. It comes down to who else is willing to join in on this planet. In other words, what other central banks and governments are going to let free people with free markets? That's what it comes down to. Who else is going to let that happen? Whoever else is going to let it happen, their currency is going to trade well against the dollar. Those who want to play socialist and want to be CCP, or they want to be CCCP of old, the Soviet Union, well, guess what your currency is going to do? It's going to look like the ruble. It's going to look like the yuan in China, fixed and doing not able to lead but only follow. I mean, that's what the yuan does. It follows. It doesn't lead. They want to lead. They talk about it all the time. China wants to be the leader. It wants to be the world reserve currency. But what did they do? They fix it. It doesn't float in the market, and it's locked to the dollar. It's a follower. It's not a leader. So, anyhow, that's that. Now let's get and look at what the algorithms are saying about the euro and so forth. We'll jump over to there and take a peek. And that is, what's that? That's the New Zealand against the dollar. And so what's happening is, since it's the New Zealand against the dollar, that means that when it's going down, it's like the euro against the dollar. It's losing against the dollar. And in this case here, it's obviously been losing. Let's take a look at the euro. And the euro has been doing the same thing. The euro was there, and now it is right there. So it's losing against the dollar. You can see it's been in a weekly sell since up in here. It's been in a daily sell since up in here. Oops, don't mean to move those Fibonacci lines that we like to look at. Someone asked about the Fibonacci lines. We put it in, and they sit there to this day. It could have been 2 years ago that they asked about it. And you can see how it still acts with it and how it bangs up against it. And you can see the bluish one right here is, what is that? Let me see how it shows. There it is. Is 0.23, almost 2.4. in the Fibonacci sequence there. It's just something that does what it does, and you can see how our math correlates, or let's say leads, not a follower. Our math is not a follower of it, it's a leader of it. It definitely leads. Went into the sell when it hit a resistance up in here. And the math itself, the algorithm said, hey, that's a resistance. Don't be long, or you be wrong. And it went into that weekly sell. And it slowly drifts its way down or sideways. That's usually the way it does it. All right, and from there, we'll jump over to cable. There's cable. Cable really had to look like it was trying to do something. This pop right there, that wild move there, was the Labor Party coming out with their budget. Obviously, that was not very positive for the money managers and so forth. They looked at that and went, oh, good news. No, please don't do that. And you can see what's happening to the poor cable. The cable is getting knocked down, just like the euro. Matter of fact, let's see who's winning that race, because here is the euro GBP. So the fact that the euro is going down against GBP, you can see there was a little pop, but still overall, we've been in a weekly sell since there, that week, and where's it at? Basically somewhere around in that week. At the end of that week, for sure, we went into the sell. And you can see it's come down from there to there. It's stayed inside channels, come down lower, 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 lower. And then the Labor Party came out with their policy, and it freaked it out. And it lost against the euro for a couple of days. And now it's back in the saddle again. You see where they threw it back into the sell on that one right there. And, it's breaking down, and it closed in the weekly sell. Let's see, it jumped into a weekly buy. Whatever the Labor Party came up with that week definitely freaked out the money traders. The people that trade currencies. They didn't like what they saw, and you got this pop against it from the euro. The euro actually lifted for a couple days against it. Then they woke up to the fact that the euro's in worse shape than the cable, and a la voila, back in the sell again. It's always fun. Having a good algorithm always helps to make it funny. All right, and then from there, and that is, that's euro cable. Okay, let's save that so we can look at that again if we need to. And let's see what else we got brewing here. I guess we could grab this green and move it over to there. There it is right there. There was the daily buy. And then obviously the sell kicked in somewhere around in here, I guess it was. Right there. Yeah, that was the sell all the way to right there. Actually, we had a buy there. And let's see if we can tighten up and steal another buy from somewhere. There's another buy. Right there. And we can take that sell, push it right there. And so that's the action of late. When it comes to the euro. Whoop. Let's tighten it up again like that. There we are. And that is the euro GBP. Now, I'm not sure what we were talking about at the time. You can see this, these lines that we set up. I think that was resistance and support. Remember, I think it was Forex was doing a webinar, or somebody on Ducoscopy was doing a webinar on resistance and supports, and we pulled that out, and then I think we matched it up to the dollar against the dollar index itself. And then we went and looked at the euro GBP. Someone asked a question. That's why I'm whining. I like it when you ask questions. This way we can explore new ideas. New frontiers go where no man has ever gone before. Do 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 do. Do 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 do. Yep. All right. Star Trek. Let's go to the inflation fighters. There it is right there. There's the inflation fighters. Looks like it's making the bottom end of that range that we seem to have defined. Thinking about if Mr. Trump won and the dollar became strong, and that's when we figured that this is the range that it'll start to bang against the Swiss against the dollar. That's how we came up with those lines there. They're the resistance lines to a support and resistance channel that we spotted, going back and exploring that. Since someone was doing that work on Ducoscopy, I thought let's just join in with the fun, you know. And so there it is. There's the Swiss, and you can see the Swiss is still in a weekly buy for, what's that, 7 weeks now? And, you know, it's from this low point in here, somewhere's in here, it went into the weekly buy that week. We always put the line, normally, when it gets through the manifold or at the end of the week. We put it one or the other. So in other words, in the case of right here, the weekly sell would have been right there as it goes through the manifold. That little point there. Can you see that little point? Yeah, I think you can. You can see me going up and down, pointing it out. Right there. Let me put a little line in there to even help you see what I'm talking about. Right there. That would be where we would put the, in this case here, we would put the pinkish one there. Exactly. All right. So that is the inflation fighters. We have all the confidence in the world that the Swiss will do fine, with King Dollar being King Dollar. I mean, look how, I guess in many ways you could say that the currency became overbought, you know, down in the 83.5, 84 area. You know, it's a 10%, that was like a 16, 17% drop, you know, gain against the dollar, which is pretty impressive. I mean, how many currencies around the planet have made those type of moves of late? You know, that's a pretty good move. That just shows the responsibility of the Swiss central bank and international traders and so forth, thinking that, well, these Swiss really know what the hell they're doing. So let's stay with them, you know. That's pretty much the way I looked at it. And I agree with them. So then from the Swiss, we'll go over to the yen. We'll fly across the planet, get in our whatever we get into to go look. We're flying all the way to Japan, to Tokyo. You can see here, I did see something. What was it? The new, I guess the new coalition fell apart again, or something like that. They're really having some issues over there when it comes to the government. You know, the LDP has been a long, strong, political party over there, and you know, they're more of social. They have like a European socialism going on. So it kind of interferes with free markets and free people. And they do their best. You know, at least they practice a form of capitalism like Europe does. It's a form of capitalism, but not necessarily as free a capitalism as, you know, I like. You know, let's put it that way. Another sip of the tea as we speak here. So, let's see what else we got to say about any of that. That's the yen. You know what? Let's see what Tokyo did. I want to see what Tokyo did. I want to see what their stock market did. We see their currency. Let's see what their stock market did. Down. Okay, it was down last night. Interesting, and it's been in a daily sell for 2 days. But we're in weekly buys, so it's trapped in that neutral thing. We'll show that to you when we get to the international currencies. Unless someone out there would like to see it right now, then I'll turn it on. But if you don't care to see it, then I won't turn it on. All right, and then from there we go over to the great experiment. Aragon, look at that. I think, as I've said day in and day out around here on the webinars, there's more strength in the Turkish lira because of the weakness of the euro more than anything else. But let's put it this way, if you're living in Turkey, you'll take it. Take whatever they give you, man. You know, instead of paying 37 for that loaf of bread or 38 Turkish lira for that piece of bread, you know, that loaf of bread, pay 36 and a half. Sounds good to me. Anything less is good, because as far as I'm concerned, inflation is an evil force that's unfortunately generated more because of bad governing policies, not some magical thing that Mr. Obama or someone else would like to claim, where it's like, oh, I don't know why it happens. Hence the reason why I have a real frustration with Mr. What's his name? Mr. Powell. Mr. Powell has basically made it very very bad. You know, he allowed inflation to kick out, some of the worst inflation we've seen in 40 some odd years, all because he kept on saying it's not real, it's transitory, don't worry about it. Yeah, thank you. Go get a job, Mr. Powell. Go get a real job. Because the one you have now, you do a very poor job at. All right, and then from the Turkish lira, we go over to the South African rand, right there, which leads us into the metals complex, especially with it roaring. Remember, this is the dollar South African rand pairs trade, or ZAR. So, in other words, when it's going down, it's gaining against the dollar, and when it's going up, it's losing. And so, right now, it's at like a 3-month high now. It's taking out these highs right in here, and it's losing. Yeah. So from there, we will jump over to gold. We go right to the gold to look at the metals market and see what it's doing. And we have to obviously assume, because of the action, that it's not going up, it's going down. And sure enough, it's been doing that same thing, sliding down. And you can see it's even sliding into a weekly sell. Matter of fact, it's just, today's Tuesday. And it's pierced the manifold. So it's in the weekly sell at this point. And the odds are if it closes there today, the odds are 99% chance it's going to close in a weekly sell. Yeah, 99% chance. It's a 10. I think it's like 97 point something, but I like to say it's 99. But it's basically in the 97s. Either way, it's damn high. Let's put it that way. So we'll watch and see what that does. At the same time, it's been in that daily sell from right there, and it's now trying to climb into the weekly sell. Let's see. Now from there, we drift over to silver. See what silver's doing next. Let me save this gold too, just for the sake of it, because I send it over to Robin again along the line, but I'll give you a new refreshed one. But just in case, I just like to, since I know I send it out, let's just save it anyway. And then from there, we zip over to silver. And it was fun to see it up at 35, that's for sure. We'll see as time goes on. But you can see it went into the weekly sell last week. Matter of fact, it really went into the weekly sell right here. Let's move that over. Right there. Went into the weekly sell there. And then, So on Thursday, it set into the weekly sell. And it went into the daily sell there. And so it's been pressuring itself down. And silver is, moving towards that $30 area. And let's hope it finds a spot and rests there. Remember, it's an industrial metal too, besides being a precious metal. So maybe it'll get some footing, get firmer in there, find some support in the $29.50, $30 area. Let's hope so, because I know a lot of people out there hold a lot of silver and hope that it stays up, that type of thing. And then from there, we drift over to China. As far as I'm concerned, it's the copper market. We look at copper as like a view inside China, since there's very few things we can tell exactly what they're doing at any given time. And you can see it tried to stay in the buy, but failed at it. Pushed into the sell yesterday, and we're in the weekly sell now we're in that weekly sell since right there. And so the pressure's been on, and we did do this little poppy thing. Gave us our daily gave us a little warning there was going to be some strength, but you couldn't be long. You could hedge yourself for that move up, but you couldn't be long it. And you could be short it or flat it, because we're in weekly sells, and then you get this smash down and lift up and then smash down, and now it's gliding down again. So that's copper. That was probably that big gap, or this big move here was the conversation they had about the idea that they're only going to put in another 1.4 trillion won, or another $160 billion or something like that, into their market. They're trying to stimulate it, but they need to do about 27 I keep on trying to use it as an average between 25 and 30 trillion won to stimulate their economy, and they keep on putting in that. Now they put in 1.4. I think it was 1.04, not 1.4 last time, or maybe it was 1.4 and they just mistaken it. And now they're putting in another 1.4, but this time it's over a 3-year period. It's like, no, we really need like 25 to 30 trillion won in a 6-week period or a 6-month period. So I mean, they're undergunning it. Unfortunately, that's what's going on. And so when we look at copper, we look at copper as a way of understanding free flow. Because the currency is fixed, as I said earlier, and it follows the dollar, not leads the dollar. Unfortunately, because it's fixed to the dollar. I know that sounds funny, and people try to, trying to. Try to explain that process, which is, way off, it is an odd situation where you have a country who keeps on trying to lead the world, but does all the things they can do to just follow the world, which is strangest to me. Very strange. Why would you fix your currency to the dollar if you want to be the world leader in currency? It means you can't lead. I mean, why would you fix your currency to the dollar? Or anything, gold, whatever. If you can't lead, you can't lead. I mean, in other words, if you're not capable of leading, then why would you talk about leading? That's what really confuses me. I'm not sure if I get across that. We're talking in many different languages. But what confuses the daylights out of me is you're a country, let's call it country X, and you want to lead the world. Well, why would you go and use somebody else's currency to lead the world with if you want to replace that currency? You see what I'm saying? It doesn't make any sense. And somehow or another, the world financial media likes to talk all the time about it like that, and like it does make sense. And it's like, well, no, it doesn't make sense. Because if you're going to lead the world, your currency would be free floating. You would free float. It would be floating around. It wouldn't be fixed to the dollar or the pound or the gold or the silver or the copper or anything. It wouldn't be fixed to anything. It would be free floating. It would be leading the world. That's what I'm trying to say. I don't understand why the rest of the world financial markets media doesn't see it the same way I do. I get confused by that. Like, what am I missing? What am I doing wrong that I don't get? What am I doing wrong that I see it this way, but the world does not? That's the bigger question. What am I missing? You see what I'm saying? Does anybody disagree with me? I guess not. No one's responding. So I must be right then. If your currency is fixed to another currency, you're not leading. That's plain and simple. Matter of fact, that should be the title today, That should be the title. I mean, really. That has me very confused. There we go. Let's see, what's the next one? And I'm going to try to figure that out too about the title of things. I think I'll do the title at the end of the day, but because I really find that a very confusing thing. Why fix your currency to another country if you want to be the lead currency in the world? I mean, that's a very good question. Many a time we create many titles around here, but more than anything else is, how many times have you ever heard anybody say that? Maybe I need to say that as a title. I think that's the whole story of it all. Title. Oop, I'm going to say that. Yep. Now, how do we do that without, too many words? Don't fix your. Now, see, there's way too many words. We got to find a way to put that as a title without it being too many words, because they need to listen to this webinar. How about this? A fixed currency, or Forex, currency, can never lead. Fixed currency never leads. How's that? That's even better. It's shortened. Fixed currency can never lead. I think that's a good way of describing it. There we go. That's going to be the title of it today. Fixed currency can never lead. Or can't leave? Lead? No, I think that's better. Fixed currency can never lead. We'll see how they go with that. Okay. Start. And tomorrow I'm going to start at 7, or let's put it this way, a half hour early. So what time do we usually say I'm starting? Usually it says I start, let's see what time. So I have to run out a little bit earlier than usual. Let's see, new golden age of USA, that's cool. Let's see. Also, just Wednesday I start a half hour early. There we go. All right, now let's get back to, since we've gotten the title, then there we go. All right. There we go. All right. So from there, because we're looking at copper, because that's the only way we can actually view anything inside China that gives us a free market floating situation. Let's jump over to platinum. We're really hoping, believe me, I have my toes crossed even. I'm really hoping in a lot of ways that they finally flatten out platinum. You can see platinum's not falling as fast, but probably percentage-wise pretty close. Because it's come down from 1,050 to 950 basically. So that's a good almost 10%. And gold has done what? Has it done 10%? Gold has come down from 2,800 down to 2,600. That's even a little less than 10%. So it's outperforming when it falls. Platinum is falling harder. You're talking about a 6.5%, 7% drop versus like a 9.5 drop. Unfortunately, we are amazed at the platinum and how much they've beaten it up. It really surprises us always. But then this is another thing about that central bank game. That's the problem, is that the central bank has so much influence on the markets. The same brilliant minds that gave us minus interest rates, is selling the daylights out of platinum and silver. So, all right. From there, we'll go from the metals complex and we'll jump over to Let's go to the energy sector. And let's go to the platform. And we'll check out Brent first and see what Brent is doing. They were in the sells yesterday. Let's see what they're doing. I saw oil up a little bit today, just a little bit. Let's move you over to the beta, which you are welcome to use for free for a couple weeks if you just have a desire to try it. And there it is right there, Chicago Quant Technologies. That's us. Dun, da, da, da. And our pals at, whenever I show Chicago, I definitely always show Ducascopy, without a doubt. Da, 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 da. There we go. And so there's the beta platform. And you can see here it's been, this is Brent. Brent looks like it's up a little bit today. Just a little bit. We'll make the platform a little bit bigger. You can see the algorithm has popped up a little bit. Still a red dot. But, you know, it's in the sell. You can see it's been in the sell for 3 days now. Is that what that is? 3 days? Yeah, 3 days now. It's in the sell for 3 days. And we talked about it last week. We thought for sure that it would find a way to go flying right back into the weekly sell because of Mr. Trump's success. And sure enough, it has. It's through the manifold and everything. It's pushing hard. It's bang. Down it goes. Watch where it lands. Nobody knows. We've seen under Mr. Trump, we've seen oil, West Texas Intermediate, go from, one day we saw it go from $8 a barrel down to minus $39 a barrel in one day during our webinar live. And we were saying, oh, it's going to go minus. It's going to go minus. I kept on saying, the algorithms keep on screaming that it wants to go minus. It went minus. And when it went minus, it collapsed. I mean, it was like they could not, people were like, I'll give you $20,000 to take my contract. Please, here's $20,000. Just take delivery. I can't take delivery. It's, and that went on for like an hour or so. That was a blast. Imagine that. Minus $39 a barrel. It's so funny when you look on the chart and you see, back there, and I guess it was like 2020 or 2019. I think it was 2019. You can see it dipped so bad that it went minus. All right, and then from there, we'll go over to look at West Texas Intermediate. There is the Texas oil right down at the bottom there. Right there. Deck crude. Give it a refresh if it gives you a problem, like so. And there is Deck crude, and it's doing the same thing, a third day in a sell. And you can see on the spreadsheet, let's just show you why we have that spreadsheet up. Right there's crude coming in 1 week in a buy, which now is through the sell right there. Right there. If you can see that, can you see that? See, just make sure we can see that. Yeah, I see that right there. And at the same time, 2 days in a sell. Now today a third day. And it's going to be, with the way it's trading now, the odds are very heavy that we will be coming into a 1 there. Let's do that. It'll be like that. It'll go into a weekly sell, the way it's trading now. All right, and then from there, we drift again. And we go over to, we take a look at a refined product that we've been looking at lately a lot over the last 3 months. We have a conversation about it every day now, too. And that is the refined product of diesel. In the United States, we refer to it as diesel when we put it in our vehicles, like trucks and cars and so forth. And we call it heating oil when we put it in our furnaces to heat our houses. And we call it jet fuel when we put it in our airplanes. But it's all the same. It's a kerosene. Some people call it kerosene in the world. Some call it diesel because it feeds diesel engines. And some call it jet fuel because it feeds the jet engines use kerosene to fly up in the sky. So that is what we call right here HO, heating oil. And on the futures exchange, I think they call it New York Harbor. They actually call it something like New York Harbor. Let me see if I can find it. I'll show you in a second. And there's the heating oil. And then, it follows to a great extent the crude oil, and you can see it's trying to get into the weekly sell right there, and it jumped into the weekly buy last week, from all that movement and that movement up, and then Mr. Trump wins and it starts to find a way to roll over. You see today there's a little buying because we're going to see some lower temperatures, and it's a short-term thing. Matter of fact, let's see if we can put it up on the screen. What one of the websites call it. Let's see, trading. Right there. And we go like futures. And we go heating oil. See, it says heating oil right there. And we click on it. And see what it says. ULSD New York Harbor. There's so many names for it. It does. What's funny is it does. I put it in my tractor, and then sometimes I use heating oil. I'll put that in my tractor because it'll burn both. It's just the level of efficiency and so forth. And and put it in my jet plane if I want to fly it somewhere. A whole bit. So it's very what do they call that? It's very versatile. Very versatile fuel. And that's a refined product from crude oil. All right, and we'll just get rid of that like that, and there it is right there, and you can see just it's moving up a little bit, just like the way crude oil is today, trying to pop up, and out of Brent and West Texas, they're all trying to pop up a little bit. But you can see the algorithm is minus right there. I'll just show it to you in a bigger screen. Right there, it's minus. So, and we're flirting with the weekly sell. Just underneath it, just a little bit. Fast is broken down last week. Last week, Fast didn't even care. Did not care that it launched itself on the slow. Fast just jumped right into the minus. And again, now here we're back in it again. So, there we are. All right, and then from there, we go over to natural gas. That's let's see, where's it at? Right there. And let me just do this, just for the fun of it. And then from there, let's see, right here, here is natural gas. There we are. And there is, you can see the last couple of days because the temperatures are getting a little bit colder here in northern hemisphere. So you can see prices trying to lift. You see more algorithm of up than down. And let's see, that is, what is that? That was November 4th. What is that? That is, let's give it a refresh and see what day that is. Oop. Maybe it doesn't exist. Maybe I didn't change it. Oh, here it is. Here it comes. Okay. There's November 4th. And there is November 4th. So it went into the buy on the 4th and has stayed in there. Let's see, what is that? That is November 7th. 7th is red. No, I guess that must be 8th. I guess that's what that is. So that would be Friday. Okay, yeah. So we were, at Friday we were in a buy, so you couldn't take the sell. And so then when we come into Monday, it goes back into the buy. You got to be still long. So it's basically been long since right here, since the 4th. It's been long all the way around it on a daily basis. But on a weekly basis, went into the buy on Friday, right there, and failed coming in this morning, or Monday morning. So kept it in the buy. That's that combination of always looking at the dot versus the algorithm. And the weekly, all three. You look at all three of them all the time. Never any less. Okay, so from there we go to, where do we go from the natural gas? Let's go to Spain. Let's see what's going on down in Spain and the energy company down there, which has been in a weekly sell now for like 6-7 weeks. We'll find it in a second. Down this way. There it is. ENG.MC. Look at all that sell, 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 and weekly sell, 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 sell. Just sell, sell, sell. So they've been anticipating lower prices on energy. That's what they're telling you. There's lower prices on energy and oil, natural gas specifically. So that's the action we're seeing there. Excuse me there. Let's take a sip of water on that one. All right. So from there, what do we do from there? We go over to let's take a look at ExxonMobil in the United States, just to get a flavor of what our energy companies are doing over here. And this is one of our biggest, basically. And here it goes. And there's ExxonMobil. ExxonMobil was doing all that selling thing too, but once Mr. Trump got elected, it seems like it's perked its head up. Friday it closed in a buy, and today it's in a buy. This week it's in a buy also. So they're thinking that as much as energy prices themselves are coming down, a lot of money is thinking that they'll still make money. That's the whole idea, is get a return on your investment. That's something we always talk about around here, but the financial media seems to drift from it, that's for sure. All right, so that completes our look at the energy. Unless someone else would like to see something, let us know and we'll do it. All right, now let's go over to Tokyo, and we'll show you what Tokyo did last night. I told you it was down, and here it is. And you see it's in a sell now for 2 days, but we're in weekly buys, so it's kind of mixed. It's a neutral position for us. We'll see. Maybe the weekly will do the same thing that weekly energy did and start to turn down. I myself would like to fantasize and believe that the world knows that America is back, economically. And we're not just another part of the gang and doing stupid things of socialism. And so they're hoping that, as usual, the America engine pulls the world train and the cars will be pulled forward. And maybe that's why we're seeing strength there, with the weeklies. From there, we'll drift over to, might as well go right to, let's go take a look at Shanghai and see what the Chinese are doing. We've seen how copper's going down, so I would expect to see, oh yeah, there it is. I didn't even look. You can see last night they pushed the Shanghai into a sell, but it has been in 3 weeks in a buy right there. It started off there in a buy at the beginning of November, and then it's been in November. Last week it was in a buy, and now it's in a buy again for a third week. You can see here they're starting to see some weakness. This is from the stimulus, that was the first stimulus. The second stimulus is not exactly exciting them like the first, and that's what everybody was hoping for, is that it would be a good stimulus. And I made it very clear that, oh, there we go. We got somebody saying hello. Hey, how you doing? Let's see. Let's just call you Abdu. Market will be nice by U.S., but just, let's see. Market, okay, hello, welcome. I agreed. Cool. Market will be nice by U.S., but just in time. I agree. Some few months. Yeah, I think I agree, and I think that's what markets usually do, is they anticipate success or failure. They anticipate, the old classic saying on Wall Street, buy the rumor, sell the news. And so we may see a little bit more selling here or there, but overall, I would imagine that the world will, over the next couple months, find ways to go up more than down. We'll see. The Federal Reserve, I'm taking a bite of something as I say this, but the Federal Reserve has been a real mess. The idea that they forced borrowers to pay interest is an insane concept. It really is. So it would have been better off of no interest before actually forcing people to not only borrow money, or in this case here, they basically bought government bonds and were forced at the same time to pay interest on those bonds. That's so wrong. Make it zero at least, not minus. All right, now from there, but thank you for making that statement. I agree with you too. I agree with you also. All right, from there we'll go over to Hong Kong, see what Hong Kong's up to. I'm sure they're all disappointed that the Chinese who want to lead won't lead. That's the problem. They say they want to lead, but they don't lead. I mean, they should stop the fixed currency tomorrow morning. You can see Hong Kong here going into the sell there, and it's been in the sell now for 3 days. It popped up on the algo, but we had a red dot, and we were in a weekly sell, so it keeps it in the sell there. Yeah, I mean, if China really wants to lead the world and be the world reserve currency and the whole bit, well, unfix it against the dollar to start off with. Second of all, let it float. Stop fixing it every day by the People's Bank of China. Let it just float in the market. Let it be. Let it float. All right, and then from there, we go over to, let's go to the Kospi. You know what? Let's go China in a sense. We'll go to the free island of Taiwan and take a look at the Taiwan index right there. And there is the Taiwan index. And you can see it's moving down. It's having no problems moving down also. And it's went into the sell last night. It's 3 weeks now in a sell. So a little pressure there. Maybe they're going to start to see some competition in chips. Wouldn't surprise me any. Mr. Trump is going to definitely start to bring, some of the industry back. And then we go like this. We shoot over to the Kospi in Seoul. Excuse me about that. And there's the Kospi in Seoul. See what they're doing. I think they're like 3 weeks in a sell also, or 4 weeks. Something like that. There it is. There's the Kospi. Yeah, now daily-wise, it's been in a daily sell for at least 4 days there. And you can see it's been in a weekly sell for over 6 weeks. So, and it's not, let's make this bigger. And it's basically now going after the lows of the unwind out of Tokyo back in September. So, all right, and then from there we go with let's see. So we've done all those. Let's take a look at let's see, Singapore. Let's see what Singapore's up to. I think Singapore's feeling some pain also, isn't it? I think they're starting to do a little selling there. Or was it buying? I think it was buying, maybe. We'll know in a second. Yeah, it was buying. They've been buying it for a couple days. And it's in a second week in a weekly buy and daily buy. It was in a daily buy now for, 2, 4, 6. This is the 8th day. You see we got a red dot today. But we stayed in the buy. So, still in a buy. And then from there, we jump over to we jump over to, I guess we could take a look at Jakarta, but I think we're running out of time. So let's go right to Saudi Arabia, to the real deal when it comes to an energy provider. No doubt, Jakarta is the biggest in the South Pacific, or the Pacific itself. But let's take a look at Ramco. I saw that the Crown Prince had a real interesting conference yesterday, trying to get some comfortable logic going again. He's saying, Israel should, get out of Gaza over the next year. That's good. Give us time to get that whole mess taken care of. Get the hostages back, and then they can repair what they want to repair, but not build war machines against Israel. Israel's not interested in war. They're into finance and business and spiritual. They're not into war. And you can see there, Aramco's holding very firm, looking very good. Second week in a buy. From there, we'll go take a look at Rocket's Red Glare, and that is the Tel Aviv exchange. And you can see the strength in that sucker also. Let me think, where is that at? You know, they just want to do business. They just want to grow free markets and be free to do their thing. But they don't want a war. They don't want war. If they wanted war, they would have flattened Iran already. They could have flattened Iran anytime they want. And they could have done the same thing anywhere else. You can see weeks and weeks and weeks in buys, and people are firing missiles at them, and it's in weeks and weeks in buys. And what does it do? It goes up, up, and up, and up, and up, and up. So it's telling you that money thinks, hey, that's the place to be. And that's exactly what's going on there. From there, we're running out of time and space. Let's just do this. Let's go take a look at the DAX. I know that the government there said they didn't have enough paper to have an election. Oh, man, talk about being in a crazy spot at the moment. Yeah, and it's in a sell for a couple of days here. And it's in a weekly sell for 3 weeks, and it's going nowhere with the success of Trump. We'll take a look at the FTSE, and then we're out of here. So where's the FTSE at? There it is right there. There's the FTSE. And the FTSE, is doing somewhat of the same as the DAX, having its issues with labor running the country now. It doesn't seem to want to have fun. Girls just want to have fun. Look at that. 4 weeks now on a weekly sell. So, what else we got here? Agreed. I'm thinking about ETF. Nowadays, actually down around 70 for one share. So around April, we'll target 5,000. Could be. Yeah, I hear you. I think, I don't know. We'll see. It's a good question. There's going to be a lot of change going on in America now for the better. So we'll see how the markets interpret that. Inflation, and interest. I hear you. I don't know. I really don't know if we're going to see that much weakness. I mean, I wouldn't mind seeing some weakness. That means that, buy low, sell high. So I agree with you, Abdul. It would be nice if they would take the markets down. We had an old saying when I was a member at the New York Stock Exchange. You got to take the markets down to take them up, and then you got to take them up to go short them. So you would hope, and I would hope, that we see some weakness going into the new year so you could buy them cheaper. I agree with you there. We'll see. We can have this conversation tomorrow. And I'm going to just start a half hour earlier tomorrow, and then back to normal on Thursday and Friday. We'll be back to 7:30 Eastern Standard Time. But tomorrow we'll start at 7 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. All right, this is Doc from North America. So around April will be the target 5,000. Could be, yeah, I hear you. All right, so tomorrow we'll catch you for another conversation. So this is Doc from North America, where we show our algorithm and our timing service, and we do it through Dukascopy, in the sense of they let us do the webinar. So, happy trails to you until we meet again. Happy trails to you, to all our trading friends. Later, traders. Have a safe and have a smart Tuesday trading. Ta-ta.